and welcome to the Rita podcast. I welcome Maitreyee Joshi.
I'm really happy to be here.
So for those new to movement practices or dance, can you explain a little bit about what somatic-based practices are, movement practices are?
Everything is a train that runs through the Grand Central Station, which is the body. And the body needs to move because it's designed in that way. So somatic practices are practices that engage your body in a manner where it is vital, where you are making sure that it is healthy and the instrument is in its peak form.
You know, even the teacher was from your, I think, background a little bit, and she did not want to name it a dance class. So it was very difficult. So how do we get that concept out or word out? Was it just something that will come eventually, just like Pilates was new? How do we get the word out?
The body is the Grand Central Station. Your mind is also in there somewhere. So who's to say that these things are not connected? And quite often when I have a client or a student or even friends, people in the community who say, I want to dance to lose weight, I never dissuade them. I say, yeah, good, come.
Anything that gets you in, because it's important.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to the Rita podcast. On today's episode, I welcome Maitreyee Joshi. Maitreyee is a contemporary dancer and a movement specialist, and we'll find out more what that means. In addition to contemporary dance, she has studied Latin dance and Kathak, and has studied at the Attakkalari Centre for Performing Arts. She kind of weaves all these dances and explores their philosophy and helps you get in tune with the body and the significance of movement for understanding yourself and your body. So it's a fascinating conversation. We talk about all aspects of movement, so stay tuned. This is the Rita podcast. I'm Rita. I'm a yoga and meditation coach, nutritionist, and author. On this show, we concentrate on 3 subjects: mind, nutrition, and movement. M&M. These are 3 pillars you need to age well and live well. We bring you information and guests that give you practical information, all backed by science. Stay tuned. Welcome, Maitreyee. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
So for those new to movement practices or dance, can you explain a little bit about what somatic-based practices are, movement practices are?
Yes. So somatic, this term refers to anything got to do with the body. And whenever I hold a session, I like to begin with this question: why do we move? Which sort of demystifies movement from the relationship of dance.
Okay.
So dance is an entry point into movement. Yoga is an entry point into movement. So I think of all of these as the spokes of an umbrella.
Oh.
And movement is the entire term that hugs all of these together. And I feel like they all move into each other, feed into each other, and is the essence of us as humans. Our body is like, I like to think of it as a grand central station through which we just experience life. So all the trains, our job, daily routine, my personality, let's not just keep it to like the physical aspects, but everything is a train that runs through the Grand Central Station, which is the body. And the body needs to move because it's designed in that way. So somatic practices are practices that engage your body in a manner where it is vital, where you are making sure that it is healthy and the instrument is in its peak form and condition as you age from birth all the way till death. So somatic practices can be gentle, they can also be quite firm, they can be a range of them. It's just how you adapt it to yourself and to your lifestyle. Yes.
I think you've kind of answered my next question is, so how does movement what you're saying, movement-based practices differ from specific like yoga, fitness, or Pilates? Is there any difference, or it just encompasses everything?
I would say that when you call something yoga or a Kathak class or a contemporary class, what you are actually in essence saying is that there is a technique here. There is a form that you follow so that you can arrive at a certain way that this movement is being expressed. So, in that sense, they are the same with differences. So, a somatic practice, yoga is a somatic practice.
Yes.
Dance is a somatic practice. But you can also say, hey, I'm going for a movement class. And if your teacher it specifies to you what actually is there, what are the elements there, I can take elements of, let's say, a warm up that I learned as a basketball player, which was very specific to cardio intensive and just making sure my muscles were, in a certain way. Or I can take a cool down or a stretching practice that I learned from my yoga teacher and then just offer it as a movement class. I know it can go all over the place, but it can also be stitched and adapted to what is being asked for. So I would say the difference is when you name something, you are going in a specific structured manner. A yoga class, a dance class. A somatic practice would just probably say, hey, I'm doing a bit of this and a bit of that.
Yeah, at our studio here, the idea is mind, nutrition, and movement. Mind, yoga, meditation, etc. But movement, nobody understands. So I had a class just for movement. It started a couple years ago, and people just didn't understand the concept. Is it a dance class? Is it this class? But even the teacher was from your I think background a little bit, and she did not want to name it a dance class. So it was very difficult. So how do we get that concept out or word out? Was it just something that will come eventually, just like Pilates was new movement, it's just going to have to take its time. How do we get the word out?
So I would say, okay, I will start with a bit of an anecdote to answer this question.
Okay.
Before I start any class, the first session that I do, I started with an open circle where I ask everyone this question: why do we move? So I've done this with students at Symbiosis School of Liberal Arts, with whom I am there for 60 hours. We have a course for 60 hours. I also do it in a community
What's
class.
the name of the course?
It's called Theatre, Games and Movement.
Okay.
And the other one is Introduction to Contemporary Dance.
Okay.
I start both the courses with this question.
Okay.
I also with community classes, dance classes, where you meet month to month, so 8 sessions. And I start with this question and I tell them, let us ask ourselves this question at the end of our meeting together as well. And it's very interesting because the first round of answers is a lot of guesswork. Why do we move? And some people are philosophical, some people are very, pragmatic, to the point. We move to get from place to place. I move because I want to process things. So there's a wide range of it. But what I have discovered is at the end of these sessions, and I make it a point to ask them. In fact, my Symbiosis School students, they have to write an assignment at the end that's graded, where I ask them to answer the question one more time. This time I say, why do you move? And the answers are so varied that it is really hard to arrive at what is a movement class and put it out there. So what I would say is that a movement class is something that allows you to access your body, how it's supposed to function, its mobility, right from how do we stand, how do we sit. If I were to trip and fall, how do I balance myself? How do I protect my body in the short term as well as long term by just using movement techniques to arrive at it. So it sort of zooms out from a very technique based, very aesthetic dance or aesthetic yoga into functionality.
Functional, basically,
Yeah.
yeah. So these are people you already have in the class. If you
Yes.
want to get people in the class and you had to use 3 to 5 words on movement, what would you do?
A vital body,
Vital body,
a
okay?
vital body. What is vitality to you? What is a healthy, moving, mobile, joyous body? If you want to answer this and access it for yourself, go to a movement class.
Okay, okay, those are good. That's good. Okay, I'm going to use that in my marketing now.
Yay!
What kind of emotional or psychological or neurological effects does it have? Does movement have? And do you see the shifts? Do people see the shifts in these, concerning these? And has there been research done on this? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
So this is something I learned during my yoga teacher training course. My teacher, he spent a big part of his education and then his research and practice in yoga researching the elemental nature of movement and its effect on the body and the nervous system. And it was one of the most beautiful, eye-opening lessons, philosophies, and practice that he taught us. So, in essence, he said that all our bodies have all the 4 elements in it. You have air, you have your, which is your breath, your heartbeat, which is the fire energy. You have your skeleton structure, your muscles, which is the earth, and emotions, which are water. And moving. So this is where I enjoyed attaching my practice to what he was telling me, is that when you move, you're actually accessing all of these elements. You're breathing in, your heart rate is going up, you're using the muscles, you're really giving energy to the earth, you're giving weight to the earth, and you're flowing, you know. And what that does is things that are stuck or memories that are in your body that
Emotional,
yes,
we hold things emotionally in our
we hold
different
them.
parts of the body.
They move. And this is not from the perspective of I want to process through it. No, it just moves. And in that movement, something happens to your nervous system. So if you may have arrived into a movement class or a dance class or a yoga, anything somatic based, in a particular state where your amygdala is hijacked, you're in a flight mode or freeze mode. And quite often, because of the way our lifestyles are, we tend to stay in that fight, flight, freeze mode as a normal. Like your nervous system thinks this is my normal. So your heart rate is always slightly elevated. You're not sleeping right. You have indigestion. These are all real symptoms that we, experience. You might start sensing after a, elongated period of time when you keep at the practice that some things have shifted. I'm sleeping a bit better. I woke up fresh without mind fog. So these are very, very small ways in which you can observe in the long term that your body is adapting to the fact that it's moving through things and it's not stuck in that response, it's finding homeostasis. So if I may add to just close this, a dance class or a movement class is always designed in that way, where you take the heart rate up, then you go into, a certain rhythm or rigor and you
Range.
sweat. Yes. And then you bring it back down. And you'll notice this, the Shavasana practice. The whole point of a yoga class actually is the 15 minutes Shavasana that you do at the end. But even in a dance class, there's always a closing that you'll have, which is the practice of arriving at homeostasis. So wherever your nervous system might have been before that, we breathe as one, and we arrive at homeostasis.
Wow, this is very, very important. Not so. Most people are moving to lose weight. I mean, people going to gym or running. So, what's the difference between that and a movement practice? That yours is more for the mind, would you say, or it can be for both?
Honestly, I do feel like even in the question of weight is a question of the mind as well.
Yes, I know, but people don't know.
Yeah, I do feel like all these things are so connected. As I said, the body is the grand central station. Your mind is also in there somewhere. So who's to say that these things are not connected? And quite often, when I have a client or a student or even friends, people in the community who say, I want to dance to lose weight, I never dissuade them. I say, yeah, good, come.
Anything that gets you in, because it's important.
Yes. The idea is show up and then just keep showing up, because after a certain period of time, the objective changes. And quite often, when also you're coming in from the perspective of, I want to lose weight or anything in that, if your objective changes internally, you know this person is going to stay with you, or they're going to stay with movement. And the idea should be that a person stays with movement, not with you.
Right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. You want to be that conduit that opens
Gets
the door.
them in, yeah.
Says, go find it. So if they're opening the door with the intention of saying, I want to lose weight, I want to feel good about myself. What is feeling good about yourself?
Right.
Right? And then these things start connecting. I spent 1 hour in a class, and the teacher today said, just dance, let's play music. I felt so good. Is going to get them back again and again and again. And after some time, I would say losing weight becomes one of the many things that happened because I went to a movement class.
Yeah. Lots of people are going to dance classes to just keep their minds sharp, especially as you get older. People that at risk of Alzheimer's, etc., etc. So just memorizing the steps is so good for you. You're just you're moving the body, and then you have to remember right, left, whatever the choreographic is. So yeah, I think it's an excellent, and it's fun, right? Music and dance. It's so tell us about your journey. What did you start with? Dance in college, school, and then yoga, or tell us your journey.
I remember dancing as one of my first memories. So if I close my eyes and have to think back to my very young girlhood, it was these cassettes. We used to have those cassettes and the VCR tapes.
Yeah. You're that old? You're not that old. You look very young. Okay. Anyway, yes, go ahead.
And my father had a big collection of all the Bollywood films. And
oh, nice.
They used to go and they used to get the cassettes. And he taught me how to put it in and rewind and play. And I would close the hall door because I was very shy, and I would tell my parents, no, you can't watch me. And I would play and I would just dance in the hall by myself. And I have very clear memory of this. Nothing else from that age, but doing this a lot with. So I grew up. I think my mom saw that, and then she put me in Kathak class, as they do. So you go into some of the classical dances. So I was in a Kathak class for about 7 years. So that is a big part of my foundational training. Then, for many reasons, I just stopped going. It broke my mother's heart. She was very sad about it. After I finished my 10th standard, I had a few back-to-back things. I did Latin American dancing for 3 years. And then I found contemporary dance. I was about 24 years old when I discovered this dance form, and it really took my breath away because it was answering the questions I was asking about dance. It was showing me that there is so much scope of this, and it made me very curious and made me feel like I don't know this and I want to learn it. So then I moved to Bangalore to study in a contemporary dance school. It's called Attakkalari Centre for Movement Arts. I did a 2-year diploma course there, and it's a full time, it's school from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. You have 5 dance classes every day for 2 years. So a lot of discipline, a lot of technique, also a lot of other things that come when you are in a dance school.
Yeah, and you have this like-minded people around. It must have been
Yes,
a great experience.
but it was also institutional, and it was also quite competitive, and quite niche. So I think it was a big part of me growing up, and then really it shook my confidence basically. Because from 3 years old till I was 26, I never questioned why I was dancing, because I just believed I'm a dancer, because everyone was like, yeah, Mai's the dancer, she was the one choreographing in school, she's the one doing it in college. I didn't question it till I graduated from a technical school that was teaching you how to become a professional dancer. And that question led me to then going much deeper into the practice, into why do we move and what is it doing for me, and do I make a career out of this? So many questions at once.
So you graduated, and I know you're doing research right now. Can you tell us a little bit about your field?
So this is a very independent research, because there's no, I'm not funded by anything. There's 2 of them, and they go hand in hand. The first one is a lot of this elemental expression of the body, and how this actually does affect your personality. So if I could just touch base on it. Even the yoga practice has this, where you have certain asanas that are specific to an element. So a lot of back bends that open up your breathing are fire oriented asanas. Everything that's forward bending is water based, as the twists are all air based, and everything balance oriented is earth based. I also had some wonderful teachers who were doing this practice movement wise. So what movements are triggering flow? What movement triggers high heart rate? Martial arts, for example. And I've been very, very privileged to learn from them. So this is something that I continue onto my own way with the community classes, with the one-on-one sessions I have. So that's one part of the research. The other one is drastically different. It's something called audio description. And this is something that was introduced to me by my colleague Damini. It is a practice where you describe movement to make dance and movement accessible to blind audiences.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and accessible not just in the term of watching a performance, but also dancing, but also moving. So we started this journey together back in 2022, and it is a practice that happens in the West quite a lot, because structurally, institutionally, they have a lot of support for disability in general. Even their roads, even their buildings, everything is designed
There's
in
much
a way.
more.
So it was very new for me. So what that allowed us to do was join language to movement, and not just language, but how else can you make movement accessible by using sound-based information, rhythm, not just music, but other breath. And we used a lot of those tools to choreograph a piece for blind audiences.
Oh.
And we brought it to India, we toured it a bit as well. And now our entire focus for the next few years is to actually make a syllabus where we can teach audio description as a practice in different places, like maybe a symbiosis, or hold a 5-day workshop where we invite other artists and blind blind folks, people who are also visually impaired, to be in the room and access movement through these.
That's wonderful.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I know, but it's getting there. You're getting there. That's fantastic. So, when did you do your yoga teacher training? Was it before the when, like in this last couple of years, or so recently?
Yes.
Okay.
In 2022.
Okay.
So, yoga was a big part of. Actually, it is just a part of everything, especially as dancers.
Well, did you have it in your course, your diploma course?
Yes, yes, we did. We had a lot of it. We also. It's not just in my diploma course. Even before that, I was in a dance school here, and we use yoga to warm up the body. We also use yoga to cool down the body, right? And it was so much a part of what I was doing. And to be very honest, I had not a very good reaction to yoga when I was in my school, because it did not come to me the right way. I would say like that.
Yeah. Sometimes yoga it's not, especially many years ago, it was not projected to the youth, basically. It wasn't attractive to the youth, I would say.
Yeah, it wasn't the right time. Then the pandemic happened, and one of my seniors from the school, she had done a teacher training course and had really made yoga a big part of her work. And she just put out a message out there saying, this day, this time, this is the Zoom link. Just join in. Let's just practice together. And something about that is the philosophy of yoga to me. I'm like, that is the essence of the practice. And it changed my life. Her name is Meghna, and she is my first yoga teacher. I call her my first yoga teacher, and she really, it touched my heart. The practice touched my heart. And then after that, I had a few other teachers. There's someone called Diya Naidu, and she is like a mentor, a teacher, a dear friend. And one day she looked at me and she said, this is a year or two after the pandemic. So this is end of 2021. And she said, at this point, the best thing you can do for your practice is if you go and do a teacher training course in yoga and really understand the philosophy and the technique of it, not from the perspective of teaching it, just to go deep into it. And she said, you do this. She's one of those people in my life who I take her word for her word. So that's
it's a good thing. I mean, you don't need to do a training to teach.
Yes.
It can give you so many other things, like you said. So you mentioned that you are also just did a training in Pilates, Fletcher Pilates.
Yes.
So can you explain what Fletcher Pilates is?
Yes. So Ron Fletcher was a student of Joseph Pilates, and he was also a Martha Graham dancer. And from he got the blessings of Joseph Pilates. He furthered the technique and then created something called the Fletcher Pilates technique, which also happens on the reformer as well as on the mat. To me, by my observation, I would say that it is very rhythmical. It's very breath oriented. So he did introduce a few techniques which are Fletcher Pilates trademark techniques. One of them is a percussive breath technique. A few others, something called the floor work, which comes from the Graham dance technique form, and it's taught that way. And I was very interested to do this because there are actually only two Fletcher Pilates teachers in India certified, and one of them is my colleague and very dear dance friend from Bangalore. She's been practicing this for a very long time. I reached out to her because I was looking for another course to sort of balance out what I was already offering with the contemporary dance technique and the yoga practice. Also, Fletcher Pilates is very oriented towards injury prevention, and not just injury prevention, but again, it's not from the perspective of an injury. It's from the perspective of how do you carry your body and vitality in your alignment, in your core structure. So they're very, very particular about it. And I feel like those micro adjustments have helped me a lot in my dance practice and in my yoga practice, which I noticed with classes that I did with her, my teacher. She said, just do the course. So that's where we're at.
So I think a lot of dance teachers, a lot of yoga teachers come from the background of dance. I've found it, and especially abroad. Maybe it's something they just started to enjoy. I think it does do a lot of injury prevention, or they might have had an injury and then they got a little more into yoga. But a lot of dance teachers become yoga teachers. So I guess when you're into dance, you do appreciate different movements. Would you say that? Yeah. So for someone who wants to begin with movement, do you have a suggestion on how they go about it, or can you tell them what they can start with at home? Something like that.
Specific to what movements though?
No, like for example, we want to move, say we have a movement class here, okay? How do we tell them to come? Like you already said this, you already answered this question about the having joy in the body and all that. But how if they wanted to start at home, do they just go online and look for movement, or how do you suggest they do that?
I think there are many ways to it. And I would say if there is curiosity, if there is any form of curiosity, then pull at the thread. That's the first step, honestly, because movement comes to you. I firmly believe this. I know it sounds fantastical and not really practical answer to your question, but I do believe that the movement that you require and you need finds you. But you have to pull at the curiosity, which means, yes, type on YouTube or go to Google and say dance classes near me, and then look at something that really calls out to you. It might be a very nice title. It might be a video that they posted on the Instagram. So this is what I mean by curiosity, because right now we do have access to knowing what are these teachers offering or what is there on offer.
Right.
I would suggest though that if you're very shy, yes, you could start at home, but take the leap.
Go to class.
And just go to a class.
Yes.
We have kind of lost the culture of community classes a bit after the pandemic. It's very sad. And sort of Zoom culture pushed this individualistic approach to just existing a bit more than we need right now.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, there was a very vibrant culture of, I'm going for a dance class. I'm just going for dance class, not a professional dance class, not a workshop. And I'm not against the workshop models that have come now, which is I sign up for a 2-hour thing, I learn a particular choreography. Those are a lot of fun, but that's not a class. Something happens when you make that, little bit brave decision. Yeah, commitment, because it is discipline to yourself.
Right.
And you show up and then you meet these same people and you move from point A to point B, whatever those points are. Individually for you also they will be different points. But as a group, when you move from here to there, something shifts. And it is the thing where movement comes, because you've already done that movement. So if it means that in class 1, when I rolled over, my fingers were just reaching till my knees, in the last class it's gone a bit towards my ankle. That is it. That's why you move. So I would say take that little brave thing, find that class that's been going on for a while, and then go and ask all the questions you can ask to your teacher. A good teacher will always want you to ask questions and then say, oh my God, I don't know the answer to that.
But I'll find out.
But I'll find out, and move together.
This is a fantastic thing you've said, because that's why I started the breathing room. I think people do need to get together, and the community forms, and you enjoy the thing more. And, the number one thing for longevity is social connections, more than nutrition, more than movement, more than whatever. Number one is social connections.
I agree.
So that's why. So, yeah. So come to the breathing room. She's going to be teaching here pretty soon. So Maitreyee, if people want to find you, where do they go?
Currently, I am on Instagram, which has somehow become the
only the thing to do. You have to do it.
Yeah, the CV for a lot of artists. My Instagram handle is @MaiJoJoJo.
I'll put it. It'll be in the show notes. It's in the show notes.
And a lot of my work is on that. But I am at this point working on making my own website, because I think it's time for me in what I'm offering now for all of it to be in one place where everyone can
so I can understand the whole umbrella, like you said, the somatic encompasses everything. So yeah.
So hopefully, as you know, independent artists have very strange relationship with time. So hopefully by the end of this year, it should be ready. But if not, Instagram is there, and
her teaching is there.
Yes.
So more than being online, find her class and take a look. Yeah?
Yes, please.
Oh, this was a fascinating conversation. Movement, we are not moving enough in India. It's a big problem.
Yes.
It's causing lots of problems, health problems, and it's getting worse, unfortunately. So we need to get people moving. So it was a great conversation. Thank you, Maitreyee.
Thank you so much, Rita, for having me. I really enjoyed it. Yes.